Alright, guys, welcome back to the Edge. That's what, changing it up a little bit today. The podcast is heading in a new direction, so I wanted to reflect that into my intro, into the intro here on the podcast. What I'm going to be doing these next couple of weeks is I'm going to be, just figuring out, getting in the swing of things, but I already did that, by the way. What am I doing? I'm losing my train of thought? Yeah. But I already did that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to really start breaking down and really start dissecting the podcast bit by bit. And what I'm going to do here is it's going to be a little bit shorter episodes or longer, depending on what we're talking about. But we're starting Northern American folklore. So that's all of America, North America, which is all of the United States. I'm exaggerating Canada for now. We'll get into that at a later date. But right now we're talking about American folklore, okay? And the region that we're focusing on for probably about the next 3 to 4 podcast days, 3 to 4 podcast episodes, is probably going to be I'm just going to pick a handful of each region. I'm breaking them down region by here. Here's what we're going to do. Northern region of North America. Then we're going to do the southern region of North America. Then the western region of North America. And I'm just going to pick a handful, like 4 or 5 episodes each of a handful of folklore that I don't think is really out there. Creatures, cryptids that I really don't think are really out there as much as they should be. Because they're kind of pretty cool. They have pretty cool backstories. Like I found this gem today. Guys, do I have something special for you today? Speaking of, we're starting our Northern American, Northern region of America today with Maryland. We're starting off in Maryland. I have 2 creatures today, 2 cryptids to speak to you about. And if you're from Maryland, you're getting excited because you probably already know what I'm speaking about. I'm speaking about mortal enemies, okay? Like, these 2 cryptids literally fought each other multiple times. They had battles, and it gets pretty crazy. So let's just jump right in. Alright, guys. So, let's just jump right into it. The first creature I'm going to be talking to you guys about here is called a snallygaster. Snallygaster. Not a shallygaster. Not a snassygaster. A snallygaster. It's pretty crazy, and I got a lot of stuff to go through here. So, let's just jump right in. Okay, first of all, what is a snallygaster? Basically, it's a thing with, like, wings. It's got wings. It looks like a giant bird, almost like a dragon, sort of scaly, reptile-y thing. And it, like, swoops down. You know what I'm saying? Swoops down on unsuspecting prey. Farm animals, children, sometimes even. Anything that it can really grab, eat. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. That's what a snallygaster is. But it's a much more than that. And it gets crazy. This stuff gets crazy. I've been reading into this, and it's really interesting to talk about. And so let's just get into it here. I don't want to rush anything. So, anyways, okay, so what it is, okay, so let me explain its name real quick. And the area it comes from. As you might have seen from the song in the episode, if you're not listening on Spotify, I suggest you go listen on Spotify. But this song in the beginning of the episode, as you can see, it's from Maryland. And Maryland was settled early on by the Germans, by the Deutsch, they would have been called in that area, in the region at that time. But so the early on Deutsch settlers even saw this bird-looking thing. And basically what it is well, it's a lot of different things. So the early things say that it had like razor sharp teeth, it sucked the bloods, almost like a vampire, sucked the blood of the victim, like a giant vampire dragon bird thing. So that was like the earliest reports of it. That's the early German settlers in that area, in the area of Maryland. Yeah. So there it goes. And so, yeah, okay, so yeah. So for like years and years and years, this Snallygaster was just folklore, storytelling. No one's actually seen one, but you know it's out there, sort of situation. So it's all conjecture up until about 1909. And in 1909, there was a newspaper released. There was an article in a newspaper that was released, and it claimed that this winged, giant, scaly creature, what it did is it got like an animal, and it drained the blood of it, and it just like left it and rolled it down the hillside. That's what the original eyewitness sighting that they put in the newspaper, that's what it says. I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but essentially that's what it says. So for years it was on a hiatus, and it was MIA until finally it got picked back up again in 1909. And it's such a weird date too, like 1909. You know, I don't know, it just sort of feels like a weird thing to me, a weird thing to think of. But anyways, so it was this thing, it's winged, it's crazy. And then it moves on from Maryland. And probably this was not just it, but also its family. I mean, it has to have some sort of family if they were able to procreate, or whatever you call it. Basically moved on to New Jersey. Not Jersey, New Jersey. But you know how it is. But you do know how it is, though. So it went to Jersey, West Virginia. It was even spotted up here in Ohio, up here where I live. So spotted all the way up here. And this is kind of crazy. The person who spotted it in Ohio, he wrote a letter actually to the Game and Wildlife Reserve, people, the wardens, wildlife wardens, and he got a response and some stuff, and it even got so bad at one point in time that Maryland said, you know what, to heck with it. We're going to give you a really big reward if you can bring us the hide of the Snallygaster sucker, okay? We want you to take it, and we want you to skin it and just cut it open and just leave its body in the street, and then just take its hide. And I don't know, we're going to make boots out of it. I don't know what they planned on doing with it, but I mean, I think that's a little extreme. You find this crazy creature that no one knew ever existed, like it was all conjecture, and you find it, and then you skin it, and you give its hide to some corrupt politicians in Maryland to skin and make leather boots and stuff out of it, maybe even a leather hat. I don't know. I don't know. That's all I'm saying. But no one ever did find it, but it got so bad at one point in time that even Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt, actually he considered putting an international trip to go meet with some other rulers of the world. He considered putting that on hold to hunt this thing down. He was going to hunt it down himself and kill it. Make the hide into leather boots, I guess. That would have been pretty crazy. We're going to get into that in a second. To what I think that was, but we'll see here in a second. But anyways, so basically it's pretty much going all crazy. And for a while there, for like a stint of 20, maybe 30 years, there's a lot of sightings, there's a lot of reports. People are saying their dogs and sheep and stuff are getting ate. Even some people say that even some of their children were being ate up. And so it's going pretty crazy. Everyone wants to hunt it. Everyone wants to kill it, skin it. Make Snallygaster-style boots out of it. We're probably made in Fortune 500 country and capitalism and blah, blah, blah. I don't really want to get into that, but you know how it is. And pretty much, there is a new sheriff in town, so to speak. The Snallygaster's mortal enemy. The Dwayyo. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that right. Dwayyo. It actually is not what it sounds. It sounds like some sort of, Mexican or South American creature. No, it's straight from Maryland itself. And it maybe it came up from someplace, but it's in Maryland now. And it's this dog-like creature, but I'll get into that next. That's the next segment. But basically, they had some brawls here and there. I'll get into that later in detail later in the next segment. But they had some brawls here and there. And then, you think, oh, maybe that's the one who croaked it. That's the one who killed it. You know what I mean? You don't know. How did it do it? I don't know. But it did it. No, you are wrong. Okay, so here's this thing. I'm paraphrasing and reading here. Basically, it was MIA for a while after that, after one of its fights. And it was seen flying way, 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 way above this. Like, super far. I'm talking like the Orion roller coaster at Kings Island, dude. I'm talking that way up here. It was flying around. It was going... You know what I mean? Whatever sound it makes. It makes some sort of... Wee woo, Fed alert, am I right? And this is going to make sense in a little bit. So, I think it was the feds who really killed the Snallygaster. Because it said it was way up flying up above the moonshine still. And it inhaled the fumes so much that it came crashing down into the vat of moonshine. And revenuers showed up, air quotes, revenuers showed up and burned and destroyed the still and the carcass of the body. Revenuers, more like Men in Black, okay? I'm telling you, Roosevelt started the entire Men in Black initiative just because this Snallygaster, that was what it is. He thought it was an alien. They came, they were like, okay, world's not ready for this. It's pretty crazy. Which leads me into our next segment, the Dwayyo. Snallygaster. Alright guys, that leads me into my last and next segment. Now, I couldn't find a lot of information on this creature, so it's going to be a little bit of a shorter one, but I'll try to make it still valuable and worth your time. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about Maryland's own, yes, the immortal enemy of the Snallygaster, the Dwayyo. The Dwayyo is a wolfen-like creature, almost like a werewolf, and he stands on his hind legs, and he stands on his hind legs. He's like, don't you understand? Guys, I swear, I'm mentally stable. I swear it, dude. But don't you understand that? You know how it is. But anyways, the Dwayyo, it's a wolfen creature. Let me tell you a little more about this. So it lives in Maryland. It lives supposedly straight in the mountains of Maryland. I drove through Maryland before. I could have shown a Dwayyo, you never know. But pretty much, essentially... Sorry, I'm for my notes here. Okay, yeah. Alright, so the first report of the Dwayyo comes from a farmer who claims, it was in a newspaper, it was in 1965. He comes from a farmer, and he claims that he was in a state park, and he was going hunting. And he came back in because it was like, okay, you can't hunt at night, first of all, it's illegal. And he was like, second of all, I don't know what's out here at night. Never really hunted these woods before, so just getting a full feel of the land. So it's like, okay, I'm walking back. What is that? And he looks over there. His family's with him, by the way. He looks over there. Giant wolf creature comes like and like completely attacks him. Rips him to shreds. But he gets the final laugh because he punches it in the face a couple times. And the thing's gone. The thing's out for the count. And he ran away. And he said, look who's boss now. I'm boss. Okay? You want to talk stuff about me, dude? I'll talk stuff about you, dude. That's pretty much how that started. And then, in 1976, yes, in the fall of 1976, two wildlife game officers. They don't mess around. I thought about doing one of those, becoming one of those, but then I was like, no, I'm gonna follow my passions in life and all that stuff. You know how it is, life journey, all that stuff. But they don't mess around, man. I'm telling you. And so they have to go for training, and they're not one to make stuff up. So I do believe this. They said they came across it, and it was hairy. It was like a werewolf, and it started like shredding trees and stuff, and it ran towards them. They ran away. They holstered their guns, but they didn't shoot it. But it tried to run away, and so when the authorities are seeing stuff, then because authorities see stuff all the time, but it's bad when they report it. You know what I mean? Because they're like, oh, this could jeopardize my job. Maybe you don't want to sound crazy. Like, no, I know what I saw. And so, anyways, it went on like that for a while, and it hasn't been seen since. So if you're ever in Maryland and see a werewolf creature, it's called the Dewey, and ask him where the Snallygaster went. Like, for real, ask him if that was a Fed cover-up. Because I'm sure he would know. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much all I have for the podcast now. It was a little shorter one. They're going to start becoming shorter ones. But I think I'm going to start trying to push 2 out a week. But until then, it's just 1 out a week now still. But anyways, that's been The Edge. Remember to stay vigilant, because stuff is always happening around you. Please email me if you have any stories you'd like to tell or you want to be on a podcast or anything. We could set that up for Anchor or like a Zoom or something like that. We could do that. Please get some voice messages. I really want to do a voice message special coming up. And what that is I'll take the voice messages you send in, and if we get like 4 or 5 good ones, I'll play them and I'll examine the story and I'll tell you my thoughts on it and stuff like that. So please send those voice messages in, and you can even do it in the socials too. So follow me on my socials too. Instagram is Caleb Persinger. Facebook is Caleb Persinger, but they're mainly about the podcast. Not the paranormal stuff in my life. And then follow the Edge Vodcast YouTube channel. Go follow that. So just have some fun. Remember, always stay vigilant. If you see something, report it to me immediately. Don't you understand me? But anyways, Caleb out in a hobby.